Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. The topic we will be covering today is, as you can see on the screen, 2025 Trends in Translation, what freelancers should know. We will try to focus on this subtitle as well, staying ahead in a dynamic industry. Okay, so today's session will cover 4 different key themes. Number 1, emerging AI and post-editing practices. Number 2, rising demand for domain-specific expertise. Number 3, navigating client quality expectations. And number 4, ethical translation and cultural sensitivity. At first theme, emerging AI and post-editing practices. Here we will try to understand what needs to be considered to adjust ourselves to the changes in the industry. So as you all know, AI tools are now being embedded into translation management systems, allowing seamless workflows and faster delivery. With enhanced capabilities, machine translation now produces contextually accurate translations, handling idiomatic expressions and also nuances more effectively. For instance, tools like translation tools to streamline processes and ensure consistency. For example, if you are working on a multilingual e-commerce website, you can leverage AI to pre-translate large volumes of text. And also for technical content like medical reports, AI can be also used to ensure terminology consistency. And in the meanwhile, you can focus on refining the content through post-editing in order to address cultural and contextual nuances. Translators are now combining AI-generated drafts with their linguistic skills to create more polished content. Because, as you know, AI or AI-generated translation can be or can sound robotic, literal, and lack emotional or cultural depth. Post-editing plays an important role to ensure that translation resonates with the target audience. And to give you an example, translators who were editing machine translated output for legal contracts must ensure that language is both precise and legally compliant, because AI might misinterpret some or certain terms or even context. Another example would be, well, for instance, if you are translating marketing content for a campaign, then you will need to make some adjustments for tone, style, and cultural relevance to, avoid sounding robotic or irrelevant. There are also a few things to consider in relation to rising demand for domain-specific expertise, which is the second theme we'd like to highlight here. So why does it matter? Well, the demand for specialized translations continue to grow as industries require precise and informal language solutions. Whether it's legal, medical, or technical content, clients now prioritize translators who possess in-depth knowledge of the specific industry, because this ensures that translations not only convey accurate information, but also adhere to industry standards and practices. Legal documents, for example, require an understanding of jurisdiction-specific terminology. But medical translation, on the other hand, require familiarity with clinical terms and also procedures. Okay, there are some key domains to focus our attention to. Some of the fast-growing fields include financial compliance, artificial intelligence, and technology, and also healthcare, as well as legal translation. So these areas are driving the need for translators who can handle specialized terminology and complex content effectively. Okay, to give you an example, for example, in financial compliance, knowing terms like AML regulations or KYC protocols can set you apart. And in the meantime, in healthcare projects, they may involve translating patient consent forms or clinical trial data. So here, what we need to do to thrive in these areas is to focus on continuous learning in order to stay updated with the latest industry trends. And we can do this by reading white papers, subscribing to industry-specific newsletters, and also attending webinars. For legal translations, for instance, we can join platforms like ProZ or industry associations to access resources and case studies. Obtaining certifications is also highly recommended. Certification programs like ATA specialized exams or training in technical tools like Trado Studio can also add credibility. So if you're a medical translator and you have a certification in medical translation, then this can help you secure pharmaceutical projects. And finally, building a portfolio to showcase domain expertise will help you stand out. You can do this by curating examples of a past work that highlight your ability to handle complex texts. If you are new in the industry, you can consider creating mock projects to demonstrate your skill set. When you're creating a portfolio, try to include a sample translation of a sample translation that showcases your versatility. For example, translation of a technical manual or a localized marketing brochure. Let's move on to another important practice for translator, which is to navigate client quality expectations. In today's competitive landscape, clients expect translations to be highly accurate, fluent, and culturally appropriate. Large-scale projects in particular demand consistent quality to maintain credibility and trust. So freelancers must meet these rising expectations to stay competitive and also to build long-term relationships with their clients. For instance, if you are working on a global marketing campaign, if you're translating a global marketing campaign, you may need to require that to translate the content that not only convey the message but also adapt it to resonate with diverse cultures and the diverse culture audience without losing its original content or the intended message. Also, collaborating effectively with clients during the revision process is crucial for addressing their concerns and also for building trust. Feedback should always be approached constructively, as it provides an important opportunity to refine your work and align it with the client's vision and expectations. So say if a client points out inconsistency in the use of terminology, what we should do is to respond by revisiting the glossaries and then making necessary changes, updates in the translation to ensure the alignment. Okay, and finally, here I would like to highlight the importance of ethical translation and cultural sensitivity. Ethics in translation go beyond just delivering a correct text, right? It's about ensuring fairness, accuracy, and respect throughout the process of translation. This is important because it's really necessary to avoid biases in translation, especially when you are dealing with sensitive topics like gender, race, or political issues. Now, confidentiality is another cornerstone where translators must handle client information with utmost care and also adhere to intellectual property rights. For example, the example of this would be a translation of a legal contract because it demands confidentiality to protect client interest and also to avoid violating intellectual property rights. Cultural sensitivity ensures that translations resonate with the target audience without distorting meaning. This involves understanding the cultural norms, taboos, and preferences of the target audience. This is particularly important because culturally inappropriate translation can lead to misunderstandings or even harm to the client's reputation if the translated text is perceived as offensive by the audience, right? If you are localizing marketing campaign for Middle Eastern audiences, to give you an example of this case, that will require awareness of cultural norms, such as avoiding imagery or language considered inappropriate in that particular region. Okay, we have here a set of actionable advice. The first one is to adhere to professional ethics and guidelines by following established industry standards like ISO certifications or ATA's Code of Ethics to ensure that your work meets ethical benchmarks and standards. And it's really important, for example, to always cite sources and seek permissions when using third-party content. And here the second piece of advice is to stay informed about global social and cultural trends. We can do this by regularly updating ourselves and our knowledge about global issues, trends, and the movements that could impact our translation work. If you are working on sustainability project, for example, you should be familiar with global climate policies and terminology, right? Okay, we will now take a look at key takeaways of what we have covered so far. So just a summary. First, let's embrace AI as a support tool and not as a replacement. Secondly, it's also important to specialize in a domain to increase your value. Also, we should always prioritize quality and client collaboration. And finally, we should uphold ethics and cultural sensitivity in our work. Now, we have listed here 6 key practices for translators to evolve in this year 2025. The first one is to upskill in AI and technology. What I mean by this is to learn to effectively use computer-assisted translation tools and post-editing software. We should also stay updated on advancements in neural machine translation. Another thing we can do is to take courses on AI-powered translation workflows. Developing domain expertise is another practical skill or practice that we can use. So here, what we can do is to choose a niche like healthcare, legal, or technology, and deep dive into those domains. As we highlighted before, it's also important to obtain certifications or attend webinars focused on our chosen domain. Then we can also start building a portfolio that showcases specialized translation. It's also important to master quality control techniques, and there you can create your own personal checklist for reviews and quality checks before you deliver the translation to your client. If it's possible, you can also seek feedback from your peers or mentors to refine your skills. Another key practice is to embrace cultural sensitivities. This can be achieved by researching the cultural context of your target audience and also staying informed about global trends and social norms. This will help us avoid biases and ensure that translations respect the target culture. Networking and building a collaborative relationships is also very important. And we can do this by participating in online forums, webinars, and conferences where we can engage with our peers to share insights, challenges, and opportunities. And finally, you should also focus on marketing and branding. If you haven't done so yet, you can create a professional website or portfolio to showcase your work. And we can also leverage social media to connect with potential clients and also professionals, where we should highlight testimonials, certifications, and past projects to, build trust. Okay. Here, let's check out the domains that will see the see the highest demand in this year. As we step into 2025, the translation industry is evolving rapidly, and certain domains are poised to see significant growth. And based on trends, there are some sectors that are likely to lead industries. So, this part I would like it to be interactive, interactive portion. So, if you have any idea of like which domain you think there will be a lot of demand in translation, you can share your opinion or your answer by unmuting yourself or by writing in the chat. So we have picked the three different domains, but before revealing these, I would like you to think which domains or areas of expertise which will see like highest demand. So
Well, it's probably the domains that you mentioned, and then I've been getting a lot of work personally in like financial sector and legal sector, um, that kind of thing, like legal translations, um, legislation, and contracts and that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah, I agree. So in the past few years, you also saw that there's increasing demand in these sectors or domains as well.
Yeah, me personally,
Mhm.
there's been a lot of legal stuff for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that will be listed in some way in this slide, but we'll see later. Thank you very much for sharing.
I suppose the directions in which AI is developing itself may have some, impact on the work that comes through to us as translators, And I see a lot of chatter. I mean, I'm not an expert at all, but the applications of AI to healthcare, and it did pop up there actually, but
Yeah, sorry.
healthcare and medical will be, I suppose, a growing area.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like there's always uh these fields that where professionals are trying to convey the information worldwide, and translation is essential. And as you say, AI as well. Like we're also translating for AI to, develop the further.
Yeah. I mean, I get the sense that the directionality in which AI applications are moving is going to create um, content and demand for translators.
Yeah, that's true. Like as the number of application that we use increase in different sectors, those application always need to be translated, for the users in the different regions and countries.
Mm.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
it's a very valuable webinar in that, us as individual freelancers, it's quite, I think, hard for me anyway to get a general overall picture of what's happening in translation. What I see in with you latest is certainly a definite move away from traditional human translation.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of our linguists have noted.
Mm.
And then I also see that like not only latest, but some other agencies are trying to, incorporate AI tools, in-house
Mm.
AI tools and machine translation tools as well to, not replace translators, but to, incorporate those into the translation flow. That's what I noticed as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's my experience too. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
I also noticed being in that domain a lot, there's a rise on demand for projects in the field of blockchain technology and cryptocurrency because of what is happening now in the US and with Elon Musk, who is one of the biggest player in the domain. I think him being close to power now in the US has led to a huge interest of cryptocurrencies, and a lot of crypto platforms are expanding to new markets. People are showing more interest into the blockchain technology. So I've seen personally a rise in demand in that sector as well.
Yeah, that's actually a really good observation. And it's also really technical domain as well, right? Like you need to have a specific knowledge in terminology and all the expressions to be able to translate these kind of text or context accurately and clearly as well.
Exactly.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your insights. Do we have any other suggestions, anything that we haven't seen yet?
I've noticed that I think it's probably because of the lowering price in translation because of AI incorporation, but uh, I think new clients are probably coming to the market because of that. So I've noticed a lot of things in game translation and video content as well. Often mobile games, probably because it's cheaper and it wasn't in their budget before to have human translators, but now that it's a little cheaper with AI, obviously we're taking the brunt of that. But yeah, I've noticed there's more of that coming in,
Okay, that's really interesting. Because
and I
I
think we'll
still,
see.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, sorry. No, sorry, go on.
no, I was going to say I think we'll see other industries coming into the market that previously didn't wouldn't have considered translating uh, because it's cheaper.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I haven't noted, I'm not sure if you guys see any like that's anything similar. What I haven't noted is also the increase in fashion industry. Like a lot of um fashion related companies are also, asking for translation, maybe because of the introduction of AI as well.
Mm,
Because they say like it's easier, it's faster, and to
mm,
do the marketing at the same time in the different parts of the world, and you can have it done really quickly.
hmm.
That's what I noticed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, well, we've seen them all. All of you have mentioned all these domains. Um, so the first one is healthcare and life science, which one of our attendees have already mentioned. Because we see that there's ongoing development of pharmaceuticals, medical devices, and also global health initiatives. There's a constant need for precise translation for that kind of uh, materials, right? And also clinical trial reports, patient consent forms, and regulatory documents. They are all, in that field and require specialized knowledge. I think you have noted as well that the increase in the translation of maybe clinical trial reports in particular. And also what one of our attendees have mentioned was that the application as well. There are a lot of institutions, healthcare institutions that use mobile application to control, like, patients' progress and also to control some experiments as well. So that would be definitely the domain that will see the increase in the demand. And the second one is, I think it's quite obvious, AI and the technology. And because of the rise of AI and also the blockchain that one of you have also mentioned. And, because those create the demand for technical translation. And then the technical translation will include something like manuals, user manuals, software localization as well, and also AI training data sets for the company to expand global reach. And also finally, another obvious answer was legal and compliance. Because now a lot of different businesses are expanding globally, and each company, each firm had their own regulations that they want to convey to workers in other countries. So translating contracts, as you have said, compliance policies, and also intellectual property documents. The translation of these texts and documents remains really crucial. And in particular, financial compliance, its demand is growing because regulators are now demanding accuracy across languages. So here for legal and compliance, it will include some translating something like know your customer document, like KYC document, or international banks. Right, okay. Right, let's move on to the Q&A session now. So if you have any questions or any personal experience to share as well, you can feel free to do during this part of the session as well. Any questions regarding what we have covered, or any opinions or anything you would like to add? Or any concerns regarding this in this context of the rise of AI and or the machine translation?
My question is about what I view as a race to the bottom, a race to the bottom with rates. So we have more and more clients coming with lower rates. So I just wanted to know how you are coping with that. What are the limits? Because AI is now used as a tool for negotiating at times with half or one third of the rates. The rates that were normally applied to a certain type of project. So you have a client coming with very high expectation in terms of experience and expertise, but then with I'm negotiating a lower rate because I will just want you to edit something that was translated by AI, which I know for me is sometimes still as much work because the text has to be thoroughly reviewed and at times modified to reach the quality expectations.
Okay, so I think the problem here is that clients normally think that, with the introduction of AI and machine translation, they think that translators have, less work, or they don't need to make as much effort as they used to. So that's the understanding of the client. And that's why I think they are asking for lower rate, because they think that translators, intervention will be much less. But again, as you just said, it's not the case, right? It's not always the case that AI actually helps the translation process, but you have to spend as much time as you do the normal human translation, right?
Exactly.
So in that case, I think it's important to highlight the issue to the client as well to, make them understand the challenge, because I also understand that in some areas, AI and machine translation can actually, reduce the workload of translators, which means that, translators can take up more works and spend less time on each project, so their earning won't be impacted. But if it's not the case, it's important to highlight to the client, try to express this and not, accept the low rates, because once we start doing like accepting low rates, then clients will start thinking like, okay, it's acceptable. So I personally think that, as a community of translators, we should, keep the standard high, because otherwise what we will, the result will be fast producer translation, like the turnaround time will be less and quicker, but the quality will be reduced. So that's my position, my personal position. I'm not sure if that answers your question. Do you do you often face challenges in negotiating prices, for example, with your clients?
Normally, no, because I set a bottom line that for me is a deal breaker. So when I communicate with my client about the challenges and why I am setting a certain rate, if we don't come to an agreement, I don't go against my principles. So I have a range that I accept and I stay in that range. But the challenge is sticking to that range leads sometimes to a reduction of the amount of work that I have. So I think it's a matter of locating those clients that want high quality and very specialized providers and that are still willing to pay the price. It's just a matter for me, I think, to shift to that new stream of work, which is what I'm trying to figure out how to now, to get those ones that use AI for sure, value quality, but understand that high quality work has to be properly paid as well.
Yeah, that's definitely a valid approach, I think. So you know which client to stick to and probably which client, to maybe reject in that case. Okay, I think that was a quite good insight for all of us. I'm not sure if anyone else is facing similar challenges or having other issues. Okay, I have a new chat by one of the attendees. I think it's similar to what we have just discussed regarding rates. What could we do to address the issue of rates? A lot is being asked from us translators. All the things you mentioned are significant set of skills and commitments that are required from us, but rates are increasingly low. That's true. Down to unacceptable levels. How could we handle this? Rates are halved for MTP. Maybe we have to type a lower number of words. That's okay, but the mental process of translating is the same, and the effort to process a human quality translation is the same. So why should we get halved rate? The result of this is that open AI translation is left as much as possible not to lose extra time. So texts are not seriously processed and are not properly localized. Yeah, okay. So I think this is similar issues that we have just discussed. So if we have a margin to reject offers that offers that don't really convince us, and we can try to negotiate. I think we should, before accepting the low rates, we should try to negotiate. We should try to make our clients understand that AI or machine translation hasn't, developed to that level that the rates should be halved. So in that way, and also explain that if clients actually value the quality over maybe the low cost, like economical cost, then some clients may change their mind and see how offering low rates will affect their communication to people in other countries. So that's my position. If you have any other suggestions how to tackle this issue, I think this is the ongoing most like the difficult challenge we are facing in this industry now.
So personally, I've definitely experienced everything that everyone's mentioned. And then a lot of my work with Ulatus, I'm not communicating that directly with the client that often. It's usually Ulatus or project managers that are doing the direct liaising with the client. So then sometimes I wonder how AI is being presented to clients and sold to clients. Because if I think about it, depending on how it's presented and how I might perceive it if I were a client, if it's just presented as like it's cheaper and it's as good as a human translation, then it's a no-brainer, right? Like
Yeah.
obviously a client, if it's sold that way, obviously is that everything being exactly the same, but it's just cheaper or it's half the price, then why, no client in their right mind would choose human translation. So I think it depends on what I've noticed is that in some domains AI really does speed things up quite a lot.
Yeah.
Does become in some cases it's quicker than checking a good AI translation these days is quicker than checking a bad human translation.
That's
Um,
true. Yeah.
but then I think maybe the bit that's important to communicate to the client um, is that AI isn't suitable for all domains, and there are certain texts where AI is definitely less suitable, and some domains where human translation is still kind of the only option. I actually had a assignment sent to me a little while ago that was translations of historical Japanese poetry that had been um,
Okay.
sold to the client as being, um, suitable for AI translation, and I had to turn around and say, look, this is completely inappropriate. The AI output is complete gibberish, and this kind of assignment is not suitable for AI. And so I think that, there needs to be a clear communication of like which domains are suitable for AI, and if the client still wants an AI translation in a domain where it's less suitable, then they might have to expect drop
I
in quality.
mean, yeah. Um, so I'm not sure if I'm audible. Looks like my internet connection is not really stable. Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, thank you. So yeah, I think there's kind of a gap in expectation and understanding between translators and clients, right? That's my understanding as well. Like, um, so I agree that, if we are working for translation agencies, then the agencies should communicate to client clearly that, if machine translation is used and the process will be MTPE, then the quality won't be the same, right? And I think there's some clients that prefer the quick turnaround of time over quality. Like they just need to, understand the context, and that's all. Like it's not for publication or anything official. They just need the like rough translation, and they want the human translator to check if the machine translation is accurate enough for them to understand the context or content, right? And for the client, I think it's fine, but I think they should also clarify their position as well. Like, okay, we don't really, what we're looking for is just, rough translation for us to understand the content of this particular text, and that's it. But then for those who actually want the translation to be as good as, human translated a document, then they have to have this kind of understand, like you said. So I feel that, that our role as translators is also to educate these clients, because a lot of the time when they have this, when they face this all the marketing thing, that they are told that the MTP will be as good as human translation, then there's a misunderstanding. So I think it's our job to, educate clients and also translation agencies, so, that there will be some differences in the quality. And that's why if, the payment is lower than human translation, the quality will be lower as well.
Yeah, I think maybe the sort of key thing to communicate to clients is that at the end of the day, you're paying for somebody's time, and if you pay less, then you'll get less of their time, and they'll be able to put less time into making the translation nice. And
Yeah.
AI is a tool that helps to speed things up, but it's just a tool, and it doesn't remove the need for someone to spend time on the assignment. And I think maybe that's the key thing, is like money equals time spent on
Yeah,
assignment.
exactly. At the end of the day, we're all professionals, and we live on and based on like what we do as our job. So yeah, and as you said, there's definitely some certain type of documents and the subject area that can be processed using machine translation. But you said some like creative writing, like poetry, or maybe some novel or advertisement, that cannot be processed using machine translation at this point yet. Maybe in a distant future, maybe. But I think at this point, translating poetry using machine translation, that I think the client should be aware, because they might have this idea that AI already does all this like amazing creative jobs, but it's not the case. And human intervention make a lot of difference, right? Okay, we have another comment. Okay, I have been educating.
Akiko-san,
Yes.
can you hear me? Akiko-san. Yeah, I just want to take 5 minutes. So hello everyone. I am Himanshu. I guess only John and Gabriel would know me.
Hi, Himanshu.
Taking care of quality. Hi John, how are you? I hope all good at your end.
Yeah,
So
good.
yeah, so I've interacted with many of you via the email. I just thought that I'll intervene while you all talk to Akiko-san. So there's some very interesting thing which came up between the talk about the lower rates and all. So Ulaters as a company, we have always preferred human translation. We have always given first priority to human translation. But since one of you mentioned that most of their work comes directly from Ulaters and they don't interact with the client, so I just thought that I'll chip in, because I'm sort of bridge between both the things. Like I talk to clients as well. I do send quotations to them every day. And then I talk to freelancers as well. So I just want to share my 2 cents over here. So whenever clients comes to Ulaters for any of their translation requirements, they come with lot of knowledge. They come with lot of research. After doing lot of research over the websites and knowing what all services, what other people are offering, they comes to Ulaters. Okay. So it's not that easy that we'll just frame some story and the clients will agree to it. That is one point. Now the second, as I said, that regulators always prefer human translation. That's why we have a pool of human translators across geographies. Okay. So now when the client comes with these requirements and asks upfront for the machine translation, okay, we regulators also agree that machine translation or AI has not reached to the level where we can just do the AI translation and it all just go fine with it. Specifically, there are some domains, some fields where AI just doesn't perform, where the technicality of the documents are on the higher side. AI just fails to perform over there. But now the thing is that whenever we get the quotations, whenever we get the chance to share quotations on the higher end, it generally like 90% of the quotations get rejected with the similar question that AI can translate it and you just have to review it. And if you go back and if you look at the calendar year, this calendar year 2024, there have been so many webinars. If I'm not sure if any one of you or all of you might be following Slater news and all, because that's basically for translation related news and all. So when you see the webinars and all, it's all been praises for machine translation. So machine translation or AI has been marketed at a level that it does everything, which is not correct, which we know as an LSP, which our freelancers know, which you all know. But it has been marketed at a level that everyone is getting affectionate towards AI. And that's why lower the rates. So it's one such unfortunate incidence. I totally agree that the amount of effort is same. To understand the context, it's just the same effort, but your rates are lower. I just want to sum up this conversation that we are navigating through a landscape which is very complex at this point of time. And it's just unfortunate that, despite putting our best efforts, we don't get the full amount. So it's my very personal experience, which I want to share with you all. In the last week, I've encountered few clients. Those are big B2B clients who have their internal CAD tools and all. Some of the client has said that they only want to pay for the matches, which is between 0 to 49%. So in case if you guys are using the CAD tools, they don't want to pay for the fuzzy matches. They don't want to pay for repetitions. They don't want to pay for matches which ranges above 51%. They just want to pay us, you let us only for 0 to 49%. So whatever changes they see on their CAD tool have been done in 0 to 49%. They just want to pay us for that. No other payments. So we process their assignment first. We deliver them. They'll exclude the report. They'll just withdraw the report and they'll pay us according to the character rate. So it has reached to the level where it's not that Ulaters is compromising your rates. It's like Ulaters is a bridge. And by the way, while we talk about all this, some of you might have experienced the demand has been decreased. It's not the same level of work what you all used to get previously are getting. I'm sure those who are associated with Ulaters from the long time will vouch for this, that the demand has decreased drastically. And I don't know till where it will go. That's all from my end. If it gives you some sort of relief, not relief is not the right word. If it just gives you some sort of correlation that why you guys are getting paid less, and despite the effort, there are different factors, and it's not only about Ulaters, it's about what Ulaters is getting paid from the clients. So it is all about it. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Himanshu-san.
Thank you. That's really interesting and good to hear.
Okay, I hope what Himanshu-san just said clears a bit of what's going on in the translation industry. So we still don't know where it's going. It's quite unclear, but it's certainly true that more and more AI will be incorporated, machine translation will be incorporated into this industry. So we'll have to see what comes next, and I really hope that the situation will improve. That actually AI helps and reduce the workload, so you can take up more work, and the rates won't be affected in total or in the long term. Anyway, thank you very much for your attention and for your participation as well. I think it has been really interesting that we have had this discussion. And as always, if you have any questions or any insight or anything that you want to share, you can reach us by dropping an email to this address, feedback@youlatest.com, and we will get back to you shortly. Okay.
Thank you, Akiko-san.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice rest of the day.
And you.
A nice weekend. Thank you.